Imagine this. You land in another country, pull out your wallet, and suddenly everything feels wrong. Back home, $1 buys you something small, maybe a coffee, maybe not even that. But here, you hand over that same $1 and suddenly it feels like you're rich. Or worse, you check the price of something and it says 1,000, and for a second, your brain freezes. How can the same money feel completely different depending on where you are? Because here's the part no one really explains. Not all money is equal, not even close. And once you see why, you start to realize something deeper. Currencies aren't just numbers, they're a reflection of power. Think about it. Why is one currency strong while another is almost worthless? Why does one country's money dominate global trade while another collapses overnight? And more importantly, who actually decides that? Because it's easy to assume there's some kind of global system behind it, some authority setting the value, making sure everything stays balanced. But that's not how it works at all. In reality, the value of money isn't fixed, it isn't fair, and it definitely isn't random. It's constantly shifting, rising, falling, changing, based on forces most people never even think about. And those forces? They quietly shape everything, from the price of your groceries to whether you can afford a house, to how entire countries rise or collapse. Because money isn't just something you spend, it's something that's being controlled. So the real question isn't, why isn't $1 equal everywhere? The real question is, what actually gives money its value in the first place? And once you understand that, you start to see the system for what it really is. So, what actually gives money its value? Most people think it's something simple, that money is backed by something real, something physical, something solid. Gold, maybe, resources, something you can point to and say, that's why this currency is worth more. But that hasn't been true for a long time. Since the collapse of the Bretton Woods Agreement in the early 1970s, most currencies in the world stopped being tied to anything physical at all. No gold, no hard backing, just belief. And that's where things start to get interesting. Because if money isn't backed by something tangible, then its value has to come from somewhere else. It comes from demand, but not the kind of demand you're used to thinking about. Not people lining up to buy a product, but entire countries, businesses, and systems needing that currency to function. Think about it like this. If you want to buy oil on the global market, you don't get to choose any currency you want. In most cases, you need US dollars, which means no matter where you are in the world, Europe, Asia, South America, if your country needs energy, it needs dollars. And that creates something powerful. Constant global demand for one currency, not because people love it, but because they have to use it. Now compare that to a smaller country, a currency that isn't used globally, that isn't required for trade, that isn't trusted the same way. There's less demand, and when demand drops, so does value. But that's only one side of the equation, because while demand is pulling a currency up, there's another force quietly pushing it down: supply. Because governments don't just sit back and let money exist, they create it, constantly. Every time a central bank prints more money, every time new currency enters the system, the total supply increases. And when there's more of something, each individual unit becomes worth less. It's the same logic as anything else. If there were only 10 houses in the world, they'd be priceless. If there were 10 billion, not so much. Money works the same way. The more of it that exists, the less each piece is worth. And this is where things start to connect back to your life. Because when supply increases faster than demand, you don't see it as a chart or a statistic. You feel it. Your groceries get more expensive. Rent creeps up. Saving feels pointless because your money quietly loses value over time. This is inflation, but not the simple version people talk about. Not just prices going up. This is your currency slowly being diluted. And here's where it gets even more uneven. Because not every country prints money the same way. Not every country manages demand the same way. And not every country has the same level of global trust. Which means some currencies stay strong, some slowly weaken, and others collapse completely. And when they do, it's not just numbers on a screen. It's entire economies breaking down, savings wiped out, prices doubling overnight, people rushing to spend money before it becomes worthless. The difference between a strong currency and a weak one isn't luck, and it isn't random. It's the result of a system driven by supply, demand, trust, and power. Because the countries that control the most demanded currencies don't just have stronger money, they have influence, leverage, control over the global system itself. And once you start to see that, you realize something important. This isn't just about exchange rates. It's about who gets to benefit from the system and who pays the price. So now you understand the mechanics: supply, demand, trust, and power. But here's the part most people never see. Money isn't just a medium of exchange, it's a tool of influence. The countries with the most demanded currencies, the ones everyone needs for trade, for energy, for global contracts, they don't just have strong money, they have leverage over the rest of the world. And it's subtle, not like a dictator waving a sword. It's in interest rates, in trade deals, in who can borrow cheaply and who can't. It's in who can survive economic shocks and who collapses under them. Think about it. Why is the US dollar the global reserve currency? Why do other countries keep billions of dollars in their central banks instead of something else? It's not tradition, it's power. Every decision about printing, lending, or controlling money ripples through the world. And while most people are busy thinking about their next paycheck or complaining about how expensive groceries are, the system quietly shapes who wins and who loses. It's the invisible force behind wars, booms, and busts, the silent engine of wealth and poverty. And once you see it, you start to notice it everywhere. The next time you're traveling, or checking prices online, or hearing about a currency crisis somewhere else, you'll realize it's not random, it's deliberate. It's a story written by those who control the system. And that story isn't just numbers, it's about power. It's about who decides what's valuable, who gets to keep their wealth, and who loses everything. So the next time someone tells you $1 is just $1, remember this: money is never just money. It's a reflection of influence, of trust, of control. And understanding that changes everything, because when you see the forces behind the system, you can't unsee it. This is Empire Economics, where we break down the systems shaping your world, one story at a time. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.